So I am very privileged to introduce a very senior, experienced, respected scientist, Shri G. Madhavan Nair. All of you have heard of this term called Chandrayaan, okay? And he is the man behind that Chandrayaan, okay? So he has put the imprint of our Rashtra on moon through that probe, which we... So he's currently the president of International Academy of Astronautics, and formerly he was the chairperson or chairman of ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. He's a leading specialist in rocket technology. Again, वो चुपचाप बैठे हुए हैं, कुछ नहीं बोल रहे हैं. He's just seeing what is happening. But he's making a lot of judgments, analyzing, making... He's a leading specialist in rocket technology, and he was the chief architect of this PSLV technology and the Chandrayaan mission, which found water on the moon. So Americans have not found water. We were able to find. And there was a lot of criticism that why we could find water on the moon at that time. I was in USA, and Indians have found it, and why Americans could not find it. So all that trouble was created by Sir. He has made significant contribution to the space program, including the long-term vision, targeting societal application of high technology. The government of Bharat conferred Nair ji the highly coveted awards of Padma Bhushan in '98 and Padma Vibhushan in 2009. So, sir, I would request you to kindly come here and run the show.
Good morning to all of you. I'm extremely privileged to be invited for this Hindu Education Forum, and I must thank Nichiketa Tiwari for giving me this great opportunity. In fact, he is the prime mover behind this whole Hindu education movement, and he has done a really fantastic job over the last few years in bringing together the specialists in various fields, and by and large concentrating on the higher education, and to some extent partly on the high school and lower school level also. So the service what he is rendering to the nation in this process is yeoman, and let's give a big applause to him first. Can I invite the fellow panelists to come on stage? Dr. Satish Moth, Dr. P.K. Gupta, Professor Madhi Bhakta, and Anjali Jaipuria, and Vinay Joshi. Okay, Mr. Vinay Joshi was listed, but he has not come over here for this meeting, but others are here. So we will, I will formally introduce the speakers as the turn comes. As an introductory remark, let me take a few words. In fact, I have the privilege of chairing this session after two major sessions are over. So we have all the benefit and wisdom of the speakers from the previous sessions, and we have all heard from them what are the plus and minuses of our education system, and how our Bharatiya Samskriti has really laid the foundation for education in the globe itself, and how it has been built up to a certain extent and later destroyed by the British. And then we are trying to recreate or re-emerge in that area. While talking about all these things, one thing came out very clearly. There was a time in which the education was the proprietary of the government. And the system was created in such a way, the government funds it, government regulates it, and then conducts various evaluation and so on. But of all the 60 years of independence, I've seen that the number of institutions have grown considerably. And today we have nearly 700 universities and something like 30,000 odd colleges at various disciplines. Out of these, 64% are private players. When we have such a large private participation in education, naturally our policies and guidelines, are they in line or are they in tune with the demands of such a changed system? That has been a big question raised. And almost every speaker has said that today's the regulatory mechanism is a real disincentive for a quality education in the country. We have to address this, and let's see what best it can be done. Then comes there is a business opportunity, because the further demand is this number of education institutions has virtually doubled over 10 years. And there's a big business opportunity, and people can really capitalize on it. But at the same time, there's a question of funding, how we generate the capital for this, how we generate the returns on it, and how we maintain the services of high quality. Again, the point which came out was the education and the research should go hand in hand. There is a lack of research component in most of the education institutions today. Compared to any Western countries or even in China, the research component is given prominence, and that way it leads to a set of good quality teachers, which is a real requirement for ensuring a proper quality education. So the research component has to be strengthened. Then democratization of the institutions, that is something which is important. Though we say that the authority and the powers are delegated, but it is never being practiced. The private institutions will have to stand in queue for getting approvals for even small items on a day-to-day basis in front of some office, either state government or the central government. And leave alone the so-called prestigious institutions like IITs and IIScs, they don't have the autonomy. Every file which calls for expenditure more than 1 lakh or so, he has to get a signature from Delhi. So this is really not working. So how to liberate them and how to enable them to deliver the right quality service to the education sector is something which needs to be addressed. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to really have a good quality of the students coming out in an employable category, a holistic change in our education system is called for. In earlier, our Kabul Sahab has clearly mentioned that the teacher, the communication of the teacher to the student, and the teacher understanding the student, and then enabling the student to learn, that is the formula to be adopted. Today it is like a factory where in one end the students come in, there's a set syllabi and set rules and regulations and set pattern of examination. And in fact, there are advertisements saying that we have cracked the code of CBSE, we have cracked the code of joint entrance exam, and so on. So what is the use? So that means, there is a process in which things are happening mechanically, and if somebody is able to crack the code, so to say, they come out very successfully from the school or the college. But the net result is they are a big zero as far as the productivity is concerned. I have first-hand experience. I have been in the process of getting talented people for the ISRO's program. We found that when you conduct a all-day level test for about 1 lakh of students or so coming out of leading engineering institutions, we hardly find 1,000 students qualifying to a pass mark level, to a very common standard questions. So that shows that the basic understanding of the subjects, it is not being imparted to this class of students. So also change, we have to revisit. Are we teaching them the right thing in the colleges? Are we enabling them to learn? Are we enabling them to apply their knowledge for solving the problems? So this is something which needs to be addressed. Again, there was a big hue and cry about the percentage of students who can get a higher education. But I am of view that a student which completes 10 years of education in the school, or maybe 12 years after +2, they should become the employable category. They should have the knowledge, they should have the skills, they should be able to work with their hands in some field or other. They should be empowered. If we want to do that, we have to see that the students are selected and their efforts are channelized in an area of their liking. There is no point in teaching every student all the complexities of the higher level of mathematics, the physics, or the attractive features of literary activity and so on. We have to spot the talents. That is the combined effort of the teacher and the parents at the early stage of schooling. At the primary and the secondary level of schooling, they have to really be the selective, and after the middle school level, they have to be channelized, and they have to be trained in the area which they can really flourish, and enable them to work with their hands. Even today, if somebody comes out of school, they cannot even draft a letter. Or if somebody comes out of a technical school, they can't even change a bulb in a domestic household. So that's the kind of thing which so you have to have practical laboratories, whether it is in science, literature, or commerce, or whatever it is. There has to be places where these children can go and learn what are the day-to-day needs of the society and how the knowledge what they acquired can be utilized for that. Then most important is there has to be a value, highest quality, the Indian tradition of the moral value has to be injected at a young level, young age itself. That is the time when the minds can be molded. We have to, today, why all this corruption, greed, and all those things happening? Because they don't have the concern or the sensitivity towards the society, towards the fellow being, even towards their household. So unless we inject these basic qualities in the minds of children, we cannot have a successful product coming out of the schools. With time, this has vanished. So this is something which needs to be addressed. And again, we can look at what we have done in the Gurukulam system, and there, how people try to absorb the gist of it. What is the methodology? There, the Guru, he is a center. So can we have a mentor when a child enters at the LKG level until he or she completes the schooling at the primary level? The child is mentored and guided to go through this, inject moral values into it, and enable them to learn. Don't spoon feed them. You provide a platform by which they can learn. Today the technology has grown. We are satisfied with 18,000 slokas of Vedas at one time. But today, if we want to translate the modern knowledge into similar thing, we require 18 billion slokas. So we should not worry about the numbers. We should talk about how to learn that, how to acquire the knowledge, not mugging up. Go to the fundamentals, understand the principles, and raise their platform. And their mental activity should be such that they can acquire knowledge in a positive. And then more than that, correlate the knowledge with what is happening around and how to apply for solving the problems of society. What the Western society finds today as a solution may not be applicable to Bharat. Our country is different. We have got 600,000 villages. All the villages have got unique problems. The problems of the north, it will not be applicable to the south or east or west. So one has to find solutions locally. If you want to do that, the observation capability, the analytical capability, the finding solutions, and giving the courage to work with confidence, that should be the aim of education. And with this introductory words, I have still a little bit of time left, but I will take at the end. We will get into the presentation by our eminent speakers. I have a great pleasure inviting Dr. Satish Modi. He was a director of the Vivekananda Education Society Institute of Management at Mumbai, and he is a specialist in engineering and in aeronautics. He has worked prominently, and he has various management degrees and so on. And more than that, he has a passion towards the technology and management. So he's a very unique personality, and we are very happy to invite Dr. Modi for his talk.
H और I का गड़बड़ है.
Very near, very near.
Very near. Since time is limited, I will not go into formalities of saying and things and directly start with my subject. These are some comments on the education system, and I am just writing, please guess from about which country it is. That country is the only country in the world that discourages children because of what they cannot do, rather than encouraging them to do what they can. This is one comment. This country is missing a key element of what is wrong with the education system, an element that is immediately apparent to any foreigner who comes into contact with it, the harshness of the classroom culture. This is another comment. The third comment, this country has a culture you can sum up as you are worthless. You hear these words all the time. These are some comments. Which country this belong to?
Obviously India.
These comments are not about India. These comments I have collected from people who are writing about French education system. This is a very popular book. I have given the link there. These comments are also about German educationists. They have commented. I have picked up from them. These comments are also from American education system, not from India. None of these comments are from India. So education is a problem where everyone is concerned with and continuously thinking about what is happening. That is my topic about comparing tertiary education system in few select countries. I read Hindi books, and one book which I am very fond of is Rag Darbari of Shrilal Shukla. Many of you must have read it. श्रीलाल जी उसमें एक जगह एक डायलॉग लिखते हैं कि एजुकेशन एक ऐसी कुतिया है जिसको हर कोई आते जाते लात मारता है. ऐसा एजुकेशन के बारे में दुनिया भर में हर कोई बोलता रहता है. नाउ लेट अस लुक एट द एजुकेशन सिस्टम. Higher education system in France. There's a huge debate in France about education system. They have two kinds of higher education system. One is Grande École and another is university system. Grande École is a kind of elite education system. Most of the presidents, prime ministers and elites of the society, they go to Grande École, where they read humanities and science and basic economics and politics, and they become the leaders of the society, and all others, doctors, engineers, technocrats, economists, they all go to the normal universities and they study there. And this system is there, and this is what they are following. Next slide, please. So they have been talking greatly about current president of France is the only president in the last so many years who is not the product of this Grande École system. And he has been trying to change the education system. And as the slide says, that what he has done is he has delinked all the 83 universities from government control. He has made them free. That until unless I remove all the regulations governing all these universities, they won't be able to deliver the good product. Then he is talking about Operation Campus. He wants to set up 10 mega universities across France who will create MITs and Harvard in France. This is the kind of debate going on in France. We'll go to previous president. The next slide is about Germany. In Germany, there have been a huge debate about education system. Their education system, higher education system, they have a kind of Berfischen Wilter, I cannot pronounce it, but what basically they are doing is after higher secondary education, they have vocational courses and 2 years of vocational courses, and they go to the work after that. But anyone who want to study beyond those 2 years, they go to the universities. This is the kind of education system they have. Now the big talk about German education system is in the next slide. No tuition fees for higher education in Germany. 10th May is the last date on which some university was charging fees, and they have declared that they will not charge any fees. Any foreign student or any Indian student going to Germany in any of these government universities in 16 states, they have 16 states, there is no tuition fees. And they have totally revolutionized. They said if you want to teach, we have been talking about knowledge is free. Germany has implemented this. You go to any university, my daughter recently went to Lisbon University for summer school, she didn't pay any fees. Only what we have to pay is for her staying charges. So I have seen it in action. So this is, if German can do it, why we cannot do it? We have been talking about it. Let us go to the next. Australian higher education system. They have been also reviewing, they follow UK system. Since the clock is ticking, I will leave that. The next slide, please. So we have been talking about public-private partnership in higher education system. Most of the countries, 95% education system is in government hand, higher education system. Most of the countries, the figures are available on Google. India is the only country where more than 60% education is in private sector. This is one unique thing. Next slide, please. Many countries are now experimenting with vocational degrees. I have given some examples that UK is talking about this as a foundation degree after 12th. Netherlands and Australia is talking about associate degree. France and Sweden is talking about advanced vocational degrees, because there is a lot of talk about employability of students coming out of the education system. The next slide, please. So what is the way ahead? What we can do? We have learned about various education systems, higher education systems in various countries. Reinvent the wheel. Okay, let us go back to Vedic Kal, and then whatever they were doing, let us do that. Or whatever, let us scrap all the systems and then recreate new system. This is all talk. This is not possible. A country of 125 crore people with a kind of education system already established, everyone can be just tinker about that education system, but it is there running, and we don't want to play with the lives of students, young people who are already there as part of the system. We are talking about American way. Is this the best way? European way, is this the best way? We can keep on debating about that. We have to find an Indian way. Next slide. You can skip this slide. So the remaining 5 minutes, I will be talking about what is the new paradigm available with us. We have been talking about limiting numbers of admissions, taking permissions from this authority, from that authority. I have been in aviation for 30 years. Last 5 years, I have become a full-time academic, joined NMIMS and then joined Vivekanand Mumbai University part. I am finding every year thousands of pages of signed document are submitted to Department of Technologies, universities, this authority, AICT. Every year, what is the size of the plot, who owns the plot, how many teachers, everything. Every year you have to sign and send. Kind of, you want to increase one seat. There is a case going on in Mumbai High Court where NMIMS gave admission to one extra student, and they are in the court because DT put a case that without permission, how did you give admission to one student? So what is the way ahead? I have given some thought. The first thought is, let us bomb the system. You cannot tinker the system. And what is bombing the system? If Prime Minister Narendra Modi has the courage to demolish Planning Commission, which was coming in the way of country's progress. If UGC and AICT coming in the way, bomb them. We don't need UGC, we don't need AICT. If they are coming in the way of educating our children, let us free the education. I am calling it right to teach. That is what our ancient civilization has been saying. If you have knowledge, you teach. He becomes a rishi, he becomes a guru. Parents are not fools. They will not send their children to anybody who is offering education. Even today, those people who are operating in the umbrella of AICT approval, we all know what kind of facilities they have, but they are getting away by saying that AICT approved. An institution like ISB, he says, we have no recognition from government, and people are paying 20 lakh rupees fees to that institution. Children know, parents know where the good education is coming from. So if we bomb this institution, UGC and ICT, what do we do? Narendra Modi ji has been talking about 100 smart cities. I am talking about, let us talk about this 125 crore people. Let us establish one central university for each 1 crore population across the country. Start immediately, start all of them now. One university costs 100 crore rupees per year. We are giving it to IIT. Let us not create another Brahmanical society of IITs and IIM graduates. They are Brahmin of the education, and rest all are Shudras of education. Create 125 universities with 100 crore. We will have 125 central universities coming up immediately. Every state, for every 1 crore population, start a state university. Immediately we will have 250 universities. What is the cost? Central government will spend 12,500 crore in setting up these 100 universities. Land is theirs, it is only construction cost. State government will have each university with a capacity of 50,000 new, totally green projects. If we are talking about 100 smart cities, let us have this 125 universities. And we can, I have just calculated sitting there, it doesn't cost much. And then these universities can create centers of excellence. Some of them will become Nalanda, some of them will become Takshila. Unleash the power of mind. Don't control the mind. There are people who will come out, gurus, maharshis, rishis, they will come out within the society. We have heard these examples in the earlier session. People coming from Germany and unleashing the power of mind and creating education system. Our people can do it. Just unleash the power of mind. With this, the time is 53 seconds, and I will finish before the time is over. Thank you.
Next speaker is Sri P.K. Gupta. He is a founder chairman of the Sharda University. He is a founding member of the National Chamber of Education Promotion Society of India. He has championed the cause of education reforms. Many suggestions from his report on educational reforms to the Ministry of HRD have been implemented by the Planning Commission. He is an active member of the Agra Club, the Rotary Club of Agra, and also the National Chamber of Commerce and Industries. In 2001, Mr. P.K. Gupta was honored with the Udyog Ratna Award, and a year later with the Uttar Pradesh Ratna Award for his many years of service to society. I have great pleasure inviting Sri Gupta to deliver his comment.
Very good morning to all the audience and the ladies and gentlemen, the friends sitting on the dais. Let me first congratulate to Mr. Tiwari for organizing such a great conference. And this is the second time I am coming here. The topic was given to me to speak about the consciousness of the over-regulation by the government. Recently, the central government, UGC has passed a regulation that the credit system, whereby the 50% marks, the examination has to be conducted by the external agency and 50% marks has to be conducted by the internal system. Nowhere in the world it does happen. They also has eliminated the nomenclature which was earlier, and they have put the list of nomenclature where all the courses has to be offered. We have a collaboration with the various universities throughout the world, and there are a lot of international students who is coming to this country and seeking different kind of courses. I have an inquiry from Africa that 200 students want to come in psychiatric nursing. There are different kind of courses, but we cannot offer these programs. The world is, education throughout the world is became a service sector, and US or be it UK or Australia or New Zealand, they're promoting their educations and making a big money out of this country. I personally believe, there's a lot of regulation. The pay scale has to be fixed by the government of India. IITs are also, or maybe private institutions everywhere, we have been, hands are tight. And we can't really think of, inviting, the best of the talented. Last time, we had a meeting with the Parliament Standing Committee that we told them, to the Parliament Standing Committee, you please stop funding to the higher institutions. Let IITs, let all the elite institutions in this country be autonomous, and the government should open a bank for education bank, whereby any student who is seeking the higher education should take the grants or maybe loan from them, and the tuition fees, the salaries to all those faculty, they can pay according to their wish. So that can attract the best of the talented people across the world. There is another, we are running a medical school. This is the toughest job one can do it. The rules and regulations are so strict. The 95% faculty has to be present every time in the institute. If you are short of even one faculty, your approval is been withheld. There are, there is already shortage in the medical education faculty. Junior residents, senior residents are the rare commodity. Whatever you pay, but people keep on floating. The council, I would say that, of course, they have maintained, the very high standards of medical education, at least, because of, the strict regulation. But they became, dictators rather than facilitator. I would say this. On the other side, AICT, when we started the college in 1996, there was a strict regulation, and there was a regular inspection, and the lot of the quality has been verified. But now, last 10 years, they opened the floodgate, and what our gentleman says, AICT approved. There is in UP there are 300 engineering colleges, and I know what kind of quality they are maintaining and how they are approving. So whether over-regulation is a problem and under-regulation, whereby we are giving total freedom, this is also a problem. There are a lot of universities in this country which, for a namesake, they are selling their degrees for 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. You can admit today, and they can enroll you for 3 years back. This has happened. So it is up to the audience what to, how to, debate on this issue, and how we can have a self-regulation with this university. I'm not a great scholar, in terms of speaking. I'm an entrepreneur, so my experience is that there must be regulation, but I would say the accreditation system should be the best way to identify the institutions, and no other regulations are required. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. He has finished ahead of time. Now we have Professor Meda Bhakta. He is a former rector of the University of Udaya, then Pasar, Bali, Indonesia. He has appointed rector of Udaya University for 2 terms. Presently, he is the Secretary General, World Hindu Parishad Bali in Indonesia. I have great pleasure in welcoming you.
Namaskar, Om Swastiastu. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished Mr. Chairman, speakers, brother and sister, ladies and gentlemen. I come from Bali. Bali is one small island of Indonesia. We have around 4 million Hindu people in Bali, among 250 Muslim in whole Indonesia. So we are minority there. And we have many problems on education, because the education policy is very centralistic, all from Jakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation entitled Enhancing Quality and Collaboration Among Universities Managed by Hindus. It is very hard task for me. Next slide, please. Next. Yes. Education is very important for society, including Hindu society. Next. As Isha Upanishad said that with the aid of Vidya, we obtain the nectar of immortality. And Rishi Krishna Dipayana Vyasa said that Savidya Yavikmuktaye, that learning is true learning, which can liberate a learner. Next slide, please. Hindu view on modern sciences, Aparavidya, is not that it's wrong, but that it only offers a limited views of reality. Until science is able to open itself to the exploration of metaphysical reality, it will remain incapable of understanding the full nature of reality. Next slide, please. And our problem in education, especially in Bali, I think, it consists of 2 problems. The first one is the quality problems, and the second one is quantity problems. I quote from Swami Arsanana. Next, please. Okay. The drawback of our present-day educational system, that our education system is a pale copy of the Western model. We have adopted the outward form and trails of an alien model without comprehending its inner spirit and source of strength. So there are problems in our education, including education in Bali. In quality problem, we are not reached the Hindu Dharma-based education. What we mean with Hindu Dharma-based education? One of the definition may be a balance between Paravidya and Aparavidya, and an education based on Hindu characters. And the second one is the quantity problem. Illiterate in Hindu society is still high, maybe especially in Bali, I think also in Barat. And Hindu higher education are not developed, especially outside Barat. Next. Hindu higher education in Bali, maybe I will present to you. We have two kinds of universities or higher institutions. First one is Hindu Dharma universities that is specialist study for Hindu Dharma. We have two universities in Bali, one state university and one private university, specialist for Hindu Dharma. And the second one is the universities managed by Hindu. We have two state-owned universities in Bali. One is Udayana University, my university, the biggest university in Bali with 25,000 student body, and managed majority by Hindus. But the policy is still controlled by the central government. And we have many private universities in Bali. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, in enhancing quality of universities, maybe our strategies are first, strengthen the structure, curriculum, and education program. We have discussed this in previous session, I think. And the second one is strengthen the human resources, lecturer and professors. And the third one is to develop a good international networking among Hindu universities. And the fourth is to solve the funding problems. Why we have to enhance collaboration between among Hindu universities? Because there are discrepancies, especially of the quality between Hindu universities, especially in Barat with good universities, and outside Barat with very, very weak universities. So I think that collaboration and networking are very, very important. Next, yes. We think that many possibilities can be developed. One of this is sister university, a formal collaboration of well-established university, maybe in Barat, with Hindu university outside Barat, that can support its young sister to develop as a good Hindu university. Second one is lecturer exchange to strengthen the quality of human resources in Hindu universities. Next slide, please. And then maybe student exchange, UN research, and scholarship. This is very important. Scholarship is very important for students in outside Barat, because without this scholarship, it is very hard to majority of people to go to the higher education. So to push this majority of people, we have a scholarship. We have to have a scholarship system, and the student, maybe many of them will become a lecturer and leader in Hindu society. Next. Yeah. And then establishment of association of Hindu universities and universities managed by Hindu internationally. I think, because it is very, very necessary for Hindu outside Barat. Because with this association, we can develop many, many programs to support young Hindu universities outside Barat. Next. And then establishment of association of Hindu lecturers and professors. the committee said as a World Hindu Academician Association, I think it's very, very important to exchange the experience, expertise of the very, very strong academician, very eminent academician with the young academician in outside Bharat. I think it's very, very important. Ladies and gentlemen, the funding problem. I think the funding system in Hindu University, especially outside Bharat, are very, very weak. Possibilities for funding to improve our quality of Hindu universities, maybe we have many, many ways, but I think first one is enhancing financial system from Hindu society. But it is very hard, it is very difficult in Bali because majority of our Hindu society and Hindu people in Bali are in low grade economy. So they can support our system. And then maybe support from strong Hindu organization. We have many, many big Hindu organizations, especially in Bharat, that maybe this strong organization can support education, Hindu education, to improve the quality of Hindu society. And Hindu philanthropists. We have many strong industrialists, we have many big bankers, especially in Bharat, that maybe they can give support to the funding system in our Hindu universities. Ladies and gentlemen, that to strengthen the Hindu Dharma society from challenges and threats, especially outside Bharat, education is very, very important. Because we in Bali, Indonesia, have a very, very strong threat from the condition in Indonesia. Fundamentalists is very, very strong, developed in Indonesian society. It's not good for our Hindu society in Indonesia. So the collaboration between higher education in Bharat and outside Bharat are very, very important. So we hope, next slide here. So we hope that the collaboration between Hindu universities discussion will get more attention in the next World Hindu Congress, maybe in United States or in 2018. I hope that this have a big reaction, big support from our Hindu society in the whole world. So thank you very much. Om Santi, Santi, Santi. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Bhakta, for sharing your challenges in Indonesia. And we hope that the much desired cooperation between Indonesia and Bharat on this education front will take place in days to come. Now the last speaker, but not the least, but the most important one, Professor Srimati Anjali Jayapuria. She is the honorary managing trustee of the Mother Institute and the, sorry, lighting is poor, Mother Hindu Education Society and a vice president of the Integral Education Society, which is the Jayapuria group of schools and management institutes. These institutes and the schools are ranked among the best in the schools in Bharat. And Srimati Jayapuria has delivered several talks on various subjects related to education, culture across the world. She is very passionate about the Sanskrit knowledge and its application, and she has introduced the Sanskrit education right from the LKG up to the high school level. And she has made immense contribution to the education, and the societal developments. I have great pleasure inviting Srimati Anjali Jaipuria for delivering her comments.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Chairperson Shri Madhavan Nair ji. Just a minute. Is this going to work? All right. And fellow panelists and guests. I'll just come straight to the point because of the clock has already started ticking. We're running Seth M.R. Jaipuria, a primary secondary school with 3,800 students in Gomti Nagar, Lucknow since 1992. And much has been spoken in the previous session about why Sanskrit ought to be taught, and that Sanskrit is the vehicle which is carrying our culture. And as Professor Kapil Kapoor said very beautifully, that his friend Aristotle agrees with him, that if we want to create a virtuous citizen, we need to teach Sanskrit in our primary education, and that's what my paper is basically about. So I would like to take you through a journey into Jaipuria School, Lucknow, where we have introduced Sanskrit from LKG onwards right up to class 8. It's an ICSE, ISC English medium school, and Sanskrit has only benefited us so far as our academics are concerned. Everything in all ways possible, Sanskrit has really done magic. It has woven magic into my students, into the teachers, and into the citizens which are coming out of our school for the last 11 years. Under the able guidance of Dr. Sampadanand Mishra, Director Sri Aurobindo Foundation of Indian Culture, Puducherry, we created this unique and innovative Sanskrit curriculum, Deva Bhasha, for nation-building education. And so Deva Bhasha here in our school, we are teaching simple Sanskrit, simple but not simplified Sanskrit, from LKG to class 8. And 11 years later, today, it is with great satisfaction that I can say that Sanskrit teaching in Jaipuria School is no longer an experiment. It is, by God's grace, a success story. And it is an experience that we are now ready to share with other schools and educationists. Well, I have been told to talk about why it is necessary to teach from LKG onwards. So let me begin that this is the most opportune moment in history, in the history of India after independence, when Sanskrit can be resurrected back into the curriculum of all schools pan-India. But if we want to effectuate this magic, it has to and it must begin from pre-primary level, because it's already being taught from higher levels, and we've all seen that it's actually the problem of Sanskrit education in India. There are just two problems. The first problem is that it's introduced in class 5 or 6, and students have not been inculcated the beauty of Sanskrit, the magic of Sanskrit, what Sanskrit actually does in their being. So when it's introduced in class 5 or 6, it's like a foreign language. It's like an imposition. And they hate it, and they wait for it to, they can leave it in class 8. So it's just like something that they just have to do. Actually, research concludes that the age when a new language is learned easily, with great fluency and near perfect accent, is from birth. It's from birth to age 7 and 8. After it becomes much, much harder. For example, when a child is born to, say, a Punjabi mother, a Tamil father, and is doing schooling in Bengal, he or she learns all the 3 languages with utter spontaneity, with utter ease. To circumvent this gap in Indian education, Jaipuria School created Deva Bhasha, our unique Sanskrit curriculum, which is taught from LKG. I'm going to go on harping about starting to teach from LKG, because that is the topic that I've been given by Nachiketa ji. And that is really the crux of the problem of the civilizational crisis and the moral crisis that we are facing, not only in India, but all over the world. If this culture, this language which actually carries culture with it, is introduced from very, very young levels, this problem would to quite some extent be dealt with. And at Jaipuria School, equal weightage is awarded to English, Hindi, and Sanskrit by way of periods, how many periods are awarded. The second major lacuna of Indian schooling is the crowding of the Sanskrit curriculum by verb conjugations, word declensions, grammar, vyakaran. To create one simple sentence in English, you got to go to this table and then that table and then that table. Oh my Lord, it's a monster-like pedagogy that you get. And that robs from the students the joyous treasures of Sanskrit language. So, in Jaipuria, our curriculum, Deva Bhasha, was designed to teach simple conversational Sanskrit, Sambhashaniya Sanskrit. And we did not try to create grammar reciting parrots, so to say. And another thing was, we had in our curriculum 10 long years from LKG to class 8 to saturate the students with the Amrit of Sanskrit, with the elixir of Sanskrit. We didn't have to crowd their curriculum that in class 5 you give them this conjugation 6, this, because they have to finish it all in class 8. No. And through games, poetry, dance, drama, singing, stories, our students are soaked in Sanskrit. So that by the time they reach class 6, they've understood how to speak in Sanskrit almost. I'm not saying that my students speak in perfect Sanskrit in class 6 or class 8, because it's just an 11-year-old experiment. But now that our books are ready, the experiment is going at a much faster speed. I would like to present before you a short video of our Sanskrit classroom teaching and our Sanskrit assembly. Here I'd like to tell you that the Sanskrit assembly has started on the request and demand of our students. They started liking Sanskrit so much that the student council came to me and said, "Ma'am, why do we have assembly 5 days a week in English? 2 days should be awarded to Hindi and 1 day to Sanskrit." I mean, students are asking for Sanskrit. It made me feel really happy. So I'd like to present that to you. Volume.
चषका अस्ति पेटिका अस्ति अस्ति
Volume can be reduced a bit.
अद्य वयं बधिरस्य मित्रदर्शनं पाठं पठामः।
आदौ विचारणीयं यत् बधिरशब्दस्य अर्थः कः? वदतु।
श्रीमन्, यः सम्यक्तया न शृणोति सः बधिरः।
Skits and dramas are performed regularly in Sanskrit.
आवाहयामि महाकविम् अब्दुल रहीम खान खानाम। एकस्मिन् दिवसा समये मैं था गया बाग में काचित तट कुरंग साव नैना गुल तोड़ती थी खड़ी। एक सुंदर लड़की थी जो फूल तोड़ रही थी। उन्नत भ्रू धनुषा कटाक्ष विसिखाई घायल किया था मुझे। उसने अपनी ऊंची भौरें और तिरछी आंखों से मुझे घायल किया। तट सी दामी सदैव मोह जल दो, हे दिल सुकारो गुजर। तब से मैं उसकी याद में थोड़ा सा खोया खोया सा रहता था।
We can go to the next slide. Yeah. We have an excellent body of Sanskrit teachers who speak, teach, live, breathe, and enjoy Sanskrit. In the Sanskrit period, only and only Sanskrit is allowed. I mean, these teachers speak only and only in Sanskrit. And they go for refresher courses for learning how to teach Sanskrit to Puducherry Sri Aurobindo Ashram every single year. Their influence on the children is indeed uplifting. Every Saturday assembly, as you have noticed, is held in Sanskrit, and as I said before, it was a demand from the students. allow me to present before you some experiences of our students. Yeah, this one.
In Dev Bhasha, the meanings are given in such simple words that it's quite easy to implement in our daily life.
I think that Sanskrit is a very unique language also. In Sanskrit, from one word, we can make more than 10 or 20 words, while in others, we cannot make more than 3 or 4 words.
They feel so happy. You can just go to the next slide and stop. They feel so happy because something, every child is looking for sukh. Now, we are trying to find out where, how can I get sukh? But here the children understand, in the word sukh is hidden how sukh can be obtained. Su means good, dukh ka du means dukh. I mean, something that's wrong, Duryodhan, Dushasan, everything that's bad. Now, the common word is kha. Kha, khagol, khag, anything that's vast. So the children understand that if I want to be happy, all I need to do is have good expansion. If I become larger than I am, if I become like the cosmos, if I have enveloped the whole world, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as everybody says, but to be able to actually experience it in your life, it's possible, but only when it's actually done at a very young age, when you understand that I am not Anjali only, I am this whole room, I am this whole world, and to start experiencing that, that is the magic of Sanskrit. The joy of learning Sanskrit resonates in the very hearts of our students. And this, my learned friends, was our first and basic aim. We had 3 aims. This was our first and basic aim. The following clip shows how our students are curious and hungry to explore the rich literature of Sanskrit, the epic characters, the hero warriors of Sanskrit. I mean, what I have not given them in their course curriculum, they are demanding from us. May I have the next slide, please? No, please go back to that slide. Yeah, let's play it. Just go to the slide. And
We all had a request to make that could we please include in the curriculum characters like Krishna,
Arjun,
Dhruv, so that what we are missing in our school education, what other students in India are missing, at least our juniors don't miss that.
so this was the demand of these students. And now I'm going to work on these characters. Sanskrit has also filled our students with a deep and lasting respect and sense of pride for their motherland. And Bharat, a fact that is hitherto missing in most students pan-India, and we all are suffering from that. This fills us with an unparalleled satisfaction because this, my respected audience, was our second aim in this venture. I will now present before you what the parents feel. Next slide.
मेरी बेटी इसी जयपुरिया स्कूल में शुरू LKG से लेके पढ़ाई कर रही है, अभी वो 6th क्लास में है जी। एक तो हमारा उद्देश्य ही यही था इसे जयपुरिया स्कूल में डालने का, क्योंकि यहाँ पर शुरू से ही LKG से ही संस्कृत को एक सब्जेक्ट के रूप में शामिल कर दिया गया है शुरुआत से ही। तो शुरू से ही बच्चे को हम संस्कृत जब पढ़ाते हैं तो उससे उसकी स्मरण शक्ति में, उसके उच्चारण में बहुत ज़्यादा इजाफा हुआ है।
तो मैं इस बात के लिए बहुत जयपुरिया स्कूल को अप्रिशिएट करूंगी कि यहाँ के टीचर्स जिन बच्चों को संस्कृत नहीं भी आती है उनको इतना कोऑपरेट करते हैं कि वो संस्कृत में इंटरेस्ट लेने लगते हैं, और इसकी वैल्यूज़ में भी बहुत चेंज आया है।
मेरे दोनों बच्चे अनुश्री तथागत इसी स्कूल में पढ़े हैं। अनुश्री 12th के बाद 83% स्कॉलरशिप लेके अमेरिका के एक प्रतिष्ठित कॉलेज में पढ़ रही है, जहाँ फॉरेन लैंग्वेज कंपलसरी है, और संस्कृत सीखने की वजह से उसे स्पेनिश सीखने में बहुत आसानी हुई। बेटा तथागत नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में इंडिया का प्रतिनिधित्व किया और रशिया में जाके उसने इंडिया को ब्रॉन्ज मेडल दिलाया।
बस I think we can stop.
मायावती के आश्रम जो स्वामी विवेक
She was talking about Gita because our school is also learning the Gita, all the students. And this was our third aim, to bring about a positive transformation in the character and values of our students. And that is happening at a good speed, and we're very happy about it. Duryodhan had said in Mahabharata, Dharmam janami nachame pravrittim. I know what is dharma, I know what is right, but I don't have the inclination to practice it. So the overarching question before us was, what is that pedagogy that will teach not only right from wrong, but also infuse us with the willpower to choose the right and practice it? And devoid of values, what is any child? What is any citizen? And then we realized why to reinvent the wheel. We realized that the values enshrined in Sanskrit are sarvabhaumik and sanatan, universal and timeless. And they will enrich our students, irrespective of their nationality, religion, class, or creed. If you would have noticed, we have students from other religions also. And in 11 years, there has not been a single parent who has come and said, "Aap Sanskrit hamare bacche ko nahi padha sakte hain." And they are learning mantras from the Vedas, Upanishads, Gita, and they're all, the parents, not even once, the parents are very happy because they see a change, a positive change in their values. By constant repetition of higher values, this will, to actually change has happened in them. Because after all, what is a mantra? Mantra means words put together, which by reiteration have the power of effectuation. We at Jaipuria School are noticing a very, very positive transformation in our students. What I'd like to say is that in classes 5 and 6, the clay of the consciousness of the child is pretty much molded into shape. And all that a teacher can do is to reinforce what has been done. On the contrary, in LKG, UKG, the child's mind, the child's emotions are all like wet clay, which permit the educationist potter to actually mold them, embodied in Sanskrit. And this is not all. Statistics show in our school that because of Sanskrit, the overall academic performance has changed, has become better. Mathematics, power of reasoning, the sweep of their diction, their poetry has become much, much deeper. Today, I invite all present here to visit our school, Seth M.R. Jaipuria, Gomti Nagar, so that they may experience firsthand our method of teaching Sanskrit, speak freely with our students, question our parents at liberty till they get convinced that without introducing Sanskrit from primary levels, there is no way forward in the field of value education. I rest my case here, and I would like to end with one word. Sanskrit na puratan hai, na nutan hai. Sanskrit to ek sanatan setu hai. Thank you. Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Srimati Anjali, for demystifying the Sanskrit, and it's a good beginning. Perhaps if you want to understand the Sanatana Dharma and Hindu philosophies, a basic understanding of the Sanskrit is absolutely essential. And how it can be introduced at the school level has been demonstrated here, and a very good example which others can as well follow. Just I would like to say that I don't want to repeat what other speakers have told, but one thing came out very clearly. We have to accept that we have evolved this education system after independence in the Swatantra Bharat. And today it is a reality. And we cannot just break it and throw away. We have to see that how we can include changes and bring in a gradual process by which we can make it the most modern and up-to-date in terms of knowledge acquisition. For that, liberating the education system from the controllers, and the controllers should change their role as facilitators. So that is very important. And then the quality can be improved only if we work with the target of keeping the employability factor in mind. Then, of course, the unleash the pound, that is, demolish the regulators, and then unleash the power of the mind. And, of course, we have heard from Dr. Bhakta regarding the issues from the Bali and so on. So he has thrown the idea of a cooperation between the universities in Bharat and Indonesia, and also maybe an association of Hindu universities and so on. Of course, the funding in most of the education institution has been highlighted as a problem. There was a time when government only was taking the responsibility. Now there are a lot of private entrepreneurs that come forward, and also some part of the profit, the industries and other setup they are making should be plowed into the educational sector. And I would say that this session concludes saying that our theme should be to convert the literate, unemployable category of the product, what you are bringing out, to a knowledgeable, employable product. So that should be the motto of our education system. With this, I would like to conclude the session, but we have about 8 minutes before us. So if some of you want to make a remark or a question, please.
Brahm Agarwal from Orlando Hindu University of America. This is a beautiful thing. In London, as you all know, I suppose, there is the St. James School. All the British students have to, it's a compulsory subject of Sanskrit there. And my another recommendation is that all the mantras we chant every day in our homes and everywhere, the meanings should be there. Otherwise, people keep chanting mantras, and kids are not going to be interested in chanting those mantras.
मान्याः अहम् एकलः अत्र सदस्यः हिन्दू एजुकेशनल कॉन्फरेंस अथवा वर्ल्ड हिंदू कॉन्फरेंस मध्ये यः केवलं समग्रम् आयुः संस्कृतार्थं समर्पितवान् गतानि 55 वर्षाणि लास्ट 55 इयर्स शारदा नाम्नी संस्कृत पत्रिका मया पुण्यपत्तनात् फ्रॉम सिटी ऑफ पूना प्रकाशमाना तिष्ठति मम एका प्रतिज्ञा कृता आसीत् सोमनाथ प्राणप्रतिष्ठा दिने 11 मे 1951 तदा मया प्रतिज्ञा कृता सोमनाथस्य प्राणप्रतिष्ठा साकं मदीयं जीवनं संस्कृताय समर्पितं भवतु अस्य 61 वर्षाणि completion of 61 years of my this pledge नरेंद्र मोदी पुण्यपत्तनम् आगत्य मम व्रतस्य 61 वर्षपूर्तनं कृतवान् मम एका प्रार्थना विद्यते अस्मिन् संसदि संस्कृतं वक्तुं मया निमेषद्वयं निमेषचतुष्टयं वा प्रार्थितमासीत् सा मदीया इच्छा जयपुर्या नाम्नाया धन्या भगिनी तया परिपूर्णतान्विता तदर्थं मया धन्यवाद सहस्री तत्र समर्पते संस्कृतं विना भारतं नास्ति संस्कृतं विना धर्मस्थितिर्नास्ति न संस्कृतं विना मानवता इति मम आग्रह मम सांप्रतिकं वयः 85 85 अतः अवशिष्टे आयुषि मया एतदर्थम् एव मम जीवनं समर्पणीयं द्वितीय कांग्रेस समये अहं स्यान् न वा अहं जाने परं प्रत्येकेन स्वहृदये संस्कृतं हृदयस्य भाषा अंतःकरण भाषा प्रतिश्वासं संस्कृतम् आ उत्तमश्वासं संस्कृतम् इति प्रतिज्ञां कुर्वन्तु इयं पत्रिका 55 वर्षं प्रविष्टा 56th year this journal and I am founder president of Sanskrit Patrakar Sangha All India Sanskrit Journalist Conference दिल्ली नगर्यामेव मया संस्कृत पत्रकाराणां इयं संघटना प्रारब्धा विद्यते सर्वेषां सहकार्यं प्रार्थये मम जीवनव्रतस्य परिपूर्णार्थं नमो नमः मदीय नाम पंडित वसंत अनंत गाडगे संपादक शारदा पुण्यपत्तनम
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Limit the time limit, please. Otherwise, you can get this many people.
Survey. Make it brief, about 30 seconds.
सर्वे संस्कृतम् इच्छन्ति किन्तु संस्कृतस्य बहु प्रमुखः विषयः संस्कृतेन सर्वैः सम्भाषणं करणीयं सम्भाषणं कर्तुम् अस्माकं योजना अस्ति संस्कृतभारती इति संघटनं घण्टाद्वयं ददातु 10 दिवसेषु सर्वे संस्कृतेन सम्भाषणं कर्तुं शक्नुवन्ति इवन एन इलिटरेट कैन स्पीक संस्कृत किमर्थम् इत्युक्ते सर्वभारतीय भाषासु संस्कृत शब्दाः एव सन्ति तदर्थं घण्टाद्वयं ददातु 10 दिवसेषु संस्कृतेन सम्भाषणं कर्तुं शक्नुवन्ति देशे विदेशेषु लक्षाधिकशिबिराणि चालितानि निःशुल्कं लक्षजनाः संस्कृतेन प्रतिदिनं गृहे विद्यालये आपणे सर्वत्र सम्भाषणं कुर्वन्तः सन्ति। यः कोऽपि इच्छति सम्पर्कं कुर्वन्तु। संस्कृतभारती SAMSKRITABHARATI samskritabharati.in or samskritabharatiyusa.org.
Thank you very much.
मैं सिर्फ चेयरमैन सर, मैं हिंदी में बोलना चाहूँगा। मेरे एक बहुत विद्वान वक्ता सतीश मोद जी ने एक छोटी सी टर्म का प्रयोग किया है, ब्राह्मणिक। ब्राह्मण बहुत छोटी सी टर्म है लेकिन बहुत बड़ा महत्व है इसका, कि आज हम भारत की और हिंदू धर्म और संस्कृति की चेतना के बारे में ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं, इसमें हमें देखना ये है कि जो टर्म्स इस्तेमाल की जाती हैं वो तो डेरोगेटरी हैं। हमारे पंजाब में हिंदू धर्म को बदनाम करने के लिए छोटी सी बात का सहारा लिया जाता है कि ये तो ब्राह्मणवादी हैं, कर्मकांड और जाति प्रथा के अलावा इनके पास कुछ नहीं है। हमारे देश की जो ज्ञान परंपरा है, जो विद्या प्रणाली है, उसके बारे में सचेत होने के लिए हमें ऐसी टर्म्स का इस्तेमाल नहीं करना चाहिए जो हमारे ज्ञान शास्त्र को, हमारी धर्म और संस्कृति की जो उपलब्धियां हैं उनको मार्जिनलाइज करने की बात करती हूँ। मैं आज बात एक हो रही थी कि आज सिविलाइजेशनल क्लैश की बात हो रही है, तो उसका प्रत्युत्तर हमारी सभ्यता में दिया गया है। यजुर्वेद का एक छोटा सा मंत्र है,
कैन यू मेक इट ब्रीफ?
वो है कि मित्रस्य चक्षुषा सर्वाणि भूतानि समीक्षे। दुनिया के सभी जीवों को मित्र की भावना से, मित्र की दृष्टि से देखने की जो हमारी सभ्यता है वो क्लैश को डायलॉग में बदल सकती है, जो यूएनओ भी बात कर रहा है। हमारे पास ऐसी जो ज्ञान की परंपराएं हैं उनको समझने के लिए हमें जो टर्म्स हैं उनका मेरा निवेदन है, उन टर्म्स को बहुत ध्यान से इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए कि कहीं खुद ही अपने आप को हम मार्जिनलाइज तो नहीं कर रहे।
Thank you.
I have a small question. Why can't we make religious studies compulsory for all the Hindus in our school? One thing. Second thing is we have so much literature, so much scriptures and everything with us. Why can't we have those things as part of our curriculum? For example, Vedic mathematics as part of mathematics and something like that. And also the third thing is, why can't we have value-based education or Hindu schools the way we have convent schools? And most of the convent schools have, most of the students of convent schools are all Hindus. So why can't we teach Hindu religious or some sort of studies in our school? Surprisingly, we have these Hindu religious studies in other countries. Like I come from Kenya, it is a compulsory subject for us. So it is there in other countries as well. So why can't we implement the same thing in our system? Yeah. I want to request all CBSE and whoever are the educationalists here that you must have some content based on our scriptures and also our value system. Thank
That's
you.
a good point. Yes. Here, can you give them? Okay. Yes.
So can I give
No,
an answer?
actually we will note this thing because CBSE representative is also sitting here. They will take note of it and certainly we will follow it up. Okay.
My question is especially from Dr. P.K. Mishra. And last 2 days I am hearing that the regulatory bodies for our education system are distracting rather than facilitating our system. I am hearing it. So there should not be any regulatory body. But what I am saying, I think everyone of here will agree to that today our education system has become most productive business next to politics. That is it. Will removing these bodies and introducing only accreditation, accreditation is a good idea, but for such a vast country, the better accredited institutions will have limited seats. So where the students will go? They will go to these business people.
No, yesterday we heard the minister putting across this idea that we have to introduce a credit system which can be carried from any state to another, and it becomes a totally a transparent system of education and credits. So we will follow up on this. Of course, it's a fact that everyone, all the previous speakers said, the regulators have become the destructors of the system. So it is some sort of a resetting their mind and putting a new course of action is required. I'm sure the new ministry will take note of this. Okay, please,
Okay.
here. Yeah.
We can continue. I have my own experience as chairman of a regulatory authority to talk that all the private institutions, they are not working on commercial lines. It is absolutely wrong. They are, most of them, they are working on commercial lines, exploiting the students, exploiting the society, and only earning money. Very many of them. This is my experience in Madhya Pradesh. I don't plead that there should be all destruction and no facilitation, but at the same time to allow the private institutions to be scot-free. That would again go to commercialize the whole education, as my previous speaker has already expressed. Thank you.
Okay, I think due to lack of time, kindly send your comments and questions to the mail. We know. Excuse me. I think most of us sitting here. Can I? Yeah, please. Please, I think you have made a point. Please. Please. Please.
Excuse me. Sir, excuse me. One basic norm which we should follow in this, and I think a lot of us has violated that basic norm, is we should not raise our voice. We can be passionate about our opinions kindly, and a lot of us have done. I don't want to sound preachy, but I think we should have a good conference. We should talk in measured tones, and I'm not just responding to this person, X or person, but please, my humble request, we should not raise our voice, regardless whatever strong opinion you have, okay? Yeah. So one thing, one second, sir, with your permission, there has been a lot of interest in Sanskrit. I will request people who are interested and most importantly, the focus is who are actively involved, like Srimati Jaipuria. I know that there is Chamu Krishna Shastri ji, Dinesh ji is there, but Chamu Krishna Shastri ji was also here yesterday. Then there is some persons from Sumaya. The lady is there from Sumaya. She's a Sanskrit scholar. Then there's one Professor Vaidya from Maharashtra. I forget, I think she's from Nasik or some university. Nagpur. So she is here. There are experts. So what I'll say is at 2 o'clock, kindly come here and discuss, and then maybe we will present some of that discussion in the final session when we talk about the road forward. There is lunch. Our energies are depleted. So kindly.
Can I have one point?
No, sir, I'm sorry. Not right now, sir. No. Okay.
I will request you to send the comments to Professor Tiwari by mail. We will definitely take note of that. I'm sure that many people are interested in this topic and you want to make it. Please send mail to us. We will take it. Now, thank you very much for the active participation, and thank you, the panelists, for the excellent presentation.